Hey Thomas. So I know we were messing around with the F-18 and Microsoft Flight Simulator when I was over at your place, and I decided I was going to take the initiative of actually trying to figure out how to start one of these up. And I'm pretty sure at this point I've got it down. So I thought I would just run through how the startup procedure works, um, at least in this, and hopefully that will make it into something that you can translate in Microsoft Flight Simulator if that's something that you want to try and start up an F-18 in. So we'll just jump right into it real quick. So first thing you're gonna do here, flip this switch, turn on your battery power. After that, we can go over to our APU or auxiliary power unit. Flip that switch into on, wait for that light to turn green. While we're waiting for that, we'll hop over here. We will hold down this switch to close the canopy. Canopy closed. APU light is green. We're going to go ahead and move our engine crank switch over to the right. Wait for our RPMs on our right engine to hit about 25 or so. Okay, and then we're going to go ahead and switch our throttle for our right engine into idle position. There we go. Wait for that to go up to about 65 RPMs. I believe that's 65,000. Um, just give it a second here. It's important to do the right engine first because your right engine powers on all of your hydraulics and avionics, things like that. So your system won't work until your right engine is on. So now we are spooled up at 65. We can start turning on some systems. So we'll turn on our displays here. Switch these into day. Turn our brightness up on our middle display here. Turn the brightness up for our HUD. Okay, HUD's on. Go ahead and switch our radar into the OPR position, which is operate. And then we're going to go ahead and start the INS alignment since that takes a little bit. INS is inertial navigation system. Assuming you'll be taking off from an airfield, which presumably you would be, you're going to go ahead and switch that into the middle position here, GND or ground alignment. And that is going to take probably about 5 or 6 minutes to align. So we're going to go through the rest of the startup procedure now. From here, we can probably go ahead and spool up our left engine. So take this, flip it into the left position. Wait for that to hit about 25 RPMs. Alright, go ahead and move this left engine throttle into the idle position as well. There we go. That should spin up to about 65 as well. Okay, we got some failures in startup. We can take care of those by going in your MFD here, getting over, clicking on the menu, getting over into the FCS page, and then going over to our left, hold the FCS reset button for about 30 seconds, release. All the squares have gone away, so we should be good to go with that. We'll get our flaps set up for takeoff, so we'll use half flaps for takeoff here. And then go ahead and set your rudder trim for takeoff by clicking on this button right here, holding it for a few seconds, and then releasing it. Typically, the APU will switch itself off once the engines are online, but we'll go ahead and do that now. Make sure your oxygen flow is on. Just go ahead and move that dial, flip that switch, and get oxygen in the cockpit. Turn on your taxi lights. Again, assuming you're operating from an airfield instead of a carrier, which you should be, go ahead and flip your hook bypass to field. Trying to think if there's anything I'm missing here. Oh yeah, we can monitor the INS alignment by going to menu, HSI, and you should have a countdown here with our quality and then time of alignment. That's going to want to get down to like 1 or so. It's currently at 52, so we've got some time to kill. You can arm your ejection seat with this lever right here. I doubt you'll be operating in an area that would require this necessarily, but if you are in a cold weather environment, you can flip your pitot heat on here. Basically what that does is it will, if I remember correctly, the pitot tube is for the altimeter, and basically that will just prevent that from icing over and messing up your altimeter. You can uncage your artificial horizon here. Move that flag, and then you can just set it right up at the horizon. While we're waiting for the INS to finish aligning, there are some systems that you're probably not going to have use of, but I'm just going to go through them anyway, because I don't think there's a reason not to. Your countermeasures, your set the to bypass for your dispenser. You can set your ECM, if I can get a good angle here, on standby to warm that up. And then you can turn on your power to your RWR, just to countermeasure systems. Go ahead and put your mirrors down if that's an option for you, because that is pretty useful. Yeah, I think we're pretty much just waiting on the INS now, so give that a few more seconds. Yeah, I'm just doing one more sweep here to make sure I didn't miss anything. But as far as I know, and I am no expert in the FA team by any means, but we should be pretty much ready to get this thing there now. There are some systems here you can turn on that are mainly just like combat-related systems, like your IFF for identify friend or foe, TACAN for navigation, ILS instrument landing system, data link. I don't know what a BCN is, but probably turn that on too. Good, just about finished. One other thing. Not sure what that alarm is. That has not happened before. Maybe it's just going to be some sort of reset. But one other thing I will say is you can set your bingo fuel with this switch here. Set it up or down. Bingo fuel is essentially just a preset marker where your aircraft will alert you when you've hit it. Typically, you'll set it for the amount of fuel you need to return to base from wherever you're planning to fly to. I think for our purposes, I'm just going to set it at 4,000. You can put it at whatever you want, though. Just about finished with the INS here, and then you can get moving. I don't know if I mentioned this. I mean, you almost certain. Is that a lock warning? No, I can't mention it. It might be. So there are other aircraft in the area. This is called a RWR, or radar warning receiver. I think I mentioned this before. You can see, for example, there's a E2 AWACS aircraft that's friendly over here, and there's also an Iranian Mirage F1 in this direction that I'm assuming must be locking us on radar on the tarmac, which is kind of odd, but yeah, you can see them on RWR, so they're out there. Again, I don't really think. Yeah, you can see we're picking up the F1 on RWR again. Yeah, I don't really think that's something you need to worry about in Microsoft Flight Simulator, but it's kind of a cool thing to know about regardless. And we are just about ready for the INS. Okay, we got okay, so INS alignment is done. Go back over to your INS switch and put it into nav. Last thing we need to do here is we're going to step on our toe brakes, and then we're going to take the parking brake off. And our runway is just right ahead. We'll just go over basic. Take off as well. Go ahead and throttle up just a little bit here, get us moving.
Infield 1-1, request takeoff. Infield 1-1, request takeoff.
Okay, I'm going to try and get us in there as quickly as possible, because they might be going for our AWACS. So, game plan here is I'm just going to go over takeoff, and then hopefully you shoot down these two Mirages, and then go over landing. That's pretty simple stuff, but may as well include it anyway, because I plan on doing this regardless. Okay, I'm gonna ask one more time, and hopefully they respond.
Infield
But
1-1, request takeoff.
Nothing. Okay, so takeoff. I just take it off the same way I do in the F-16, which is to say I just step on the toe brakes and then staying in an afterburner. And then once my engines overpower the toe brakes, I release them and just kind of ride this thing up. Okay, well, too bad. Wait until you get to about 190 velocity. I pitch up about 10, 15 degrees or so, and just kind of ride this thing up. And your landing gear, you put up just with that right there. So while we're in there, let me contact the AWACS and see if we can get some
Overlord
information.
1-1, infield 1-1, request bogey dope.
Probably get quiet here. We're trying to not get shot down, so put my master around. Alright, splash one, but there's another one there somewhere. Alright, he is gone, and our AWACS is, unless I'm mistaken, still in the air. So I would call that a successful mission. So at this point, we can go ahead and head back to Dubai International, and I will just go over some basic landing stuff. One other thing that I probably should have done earlier, but better late than never. You might be able to do this in Microsoft Flight Simulator. You'll notice that you have, or at least in my case, I have a external fuel tank that I can dump here. Basically, to do that, it's pretty simple. I just need to go ahead and make sure my master arm is on. And go ahead and move that air mode. Go ahead and make sure master arm is on. Turn the style to stores. Select my center station for jettison, and then once I'm kind of evened out here, I can go ahead and just press this big red jet button, and my tank will just drop away. Alright, let's head back to Dubai International.
Enfield 1-1, inbound. Enfield 1-1, flying heading 050, 47, QFB 29.91, runway 30, to pattern altitude.
Altitude. Altitude.
So you notice I just do a sharp turn there to try and bleed as much airspeed as I can on my approach. Sharper turns you do, the more airspeed you're going to lose. So in my case, that's useful. And then on my throttle, I have controls to put down my air brake, which I'm going to do right now, so you get max extension.
Enfield 1-1, cleared for visual, contact tower. Enfield
Put my
1-1,
gear
request
down
landing.
and about, yeah, this is good. Gear down. Keep my flight marker, FPM or flight pack marker is that little circle with the 3 lines. That is basically just where I'm going to end up. Just keep that about halfway down the runway.
Enfield 1-1, request landing. Enfield 1-1, cleared to land, runway 30.
It's a little bit touch and go at the end there, but Step down and start stepping on the brakes here. My throttle is all the way back. Again, you're just going to want to make sure you land at about, ideally, like, pretty much the same you take off as, like, that 190 knots range or so. Maybe ideally even a little bit lower than that if you can manage. And then just put it down as gently as possible. Now, the F-18 is a carrier aircraft, which means that its landing gear are really over-engineered. So, you know, don't go too crazy with it, but you can do some pretty hard landings in this. At this point, I would say this is where you would turn off your taxi lights, although it just now occurs to me that I never turned them off when they were on during the entire flight. So, I guess my taxi lights can just stay on. And I'm just going to pull off on the taxiway here. And that's pretty much it. It's not really a difficult aircraft to fly once you kind of get some of the systems down. Again, I'm definitely not an expert with this. I'm way more familiar with the F-16 than I am with the F-18. But took a couple hours, watched a few videos, and started procedure. And yeah, it's pick it up pretty easily. So maybe you'll have some luck replicating this in Microsoft Flight Simulator. Anyway, once I park at the whatever this thing's called over here, I'll go ahead and cut the video. But hopefully this was kind of interesting. And we'll go ahead and turn the parking brake on. Alright, we have stopped. So that is it. That's all I got.